bites. And I heard it on his Grundig radio. Yes, those days, this is the time he had good radiograms. Grundig radio. And the radios had a turntable, had a bit where you get normal radio, and had speakers all in one. They weren't separates. And you dare touch his Grundig radio.
At all.
It would be in trouble.
But Teddy Osei was a legend. Osibisa
Yeah.
was the finest that came out of Africa,
Yes.
because it was a combination of Ghanaians, Nigerians, and people from the West Indies. But Teddy Osei was the leader. Mark Tonto was there. So we hope very soon we will get another Osibisa who will do the kind of music that Teddy Osei and his group did. May his soul rest in
perfect peace. And well, I heard you talk about, we hope that we get, another kind. Sometimes some people are one of a kind. You never get their kind again.
Yes.
And Osibisa is one of those.
Yes.
They are in a league of their own.
League of their own.
A league of their own.
Just like Nkrumah was in a league of his own.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that's how come, no matter the efforts made to try and diminish who he was, his light was too bright to be dimmed. Yeah. So we just have to learn from him. I mean, I am always fascinated by his brain, his thinking,
his mindset.
Yes, how
his
he was,
love for country.
Yes, and
his patriotism.
The vision he had for the country.
Yes.
I mean, way before people started talking about one district, one factory,
He'd already done it.
and he was
Nuclear energy.
Absolutely, and
started.
it hasn't really improved since he left.
Time, yes. It's a shame we killed him. It's a shame we killed him. But
he knew that industrialization was the way to go.
We probably needed to go through this to wake us up. Unfortunately, we haven't been woken up yet.
Yeah. My brother made me laugh whenever we meet about Nkrumah. I said, Daniel, do you know something? Have you witnessed Nkrumah's videos when he's talking, tapping the table or hitting it? Because all the people there don't know what he was saying.
He wanted them to know.
So too far. He was wake them up, hitting the table, wake them up, but none of them woke up before he left.
He was centuries ahead. To think about a lake, man-made lake, one of the biggest, if not the biggest in the world.
Yeah.
To think about Akosombo, the plant.
You're even
to think about the motorway.
You're going too far. Little things like nails. Nails.
Dadwa Papa.
Dadwa. His mind was just something else.
And I always say that he's the only person that looked at our development holistically.
Yes.
He gave the arts so much attention.
Yes.
Because we know what the arts can do. Look, and it's in that time that we got the likes of the UCB and I've forgotten this guy's name. I mean, it's like E.T. Mensah and the like, and there was so much variety.
And the way he even distributed industries in the country.
That's the point. He didn't leave any side.
Fantastic. Why haven't we learned from it? That is the $1 million question.
And
there was no personal interest in what he was doing, considering where he came from.
Exactly.
His family even didn't have a family home. It was this man's father, Osei, former ambassador to UK, who built his family home. He built a house for him. He said he doesn't want it. Why did he should give it to his family? And that's the family home he has in Nkrofo. And we can't see it.
No, my point sometimes even is, okay, you don't have ideas. How about
what was left you?
Yes, or the blueprint he had. How about that?
He started the Marine Drive. Have we been able to continue?
Even maintaining the Temamoto.
They put signboard there and they are faded. We are going to do Marine Drive. They took money.
It's something else.
No, it is
even the motorway. We can't maintain.
Yeah. My sister, it is the enemies within.
That's true.
The enemies within made us see good things to be bad.
That's true. I
They
think we
made
are on
us
we
crucified good people.
we are very much.
Yes.
We have the crab mentality.
But we should have known
No,
it.
we have to mention names. The Dankwa tradition is still here with us. Whenever you are doing good things, they say it is bad.
But they want to do the good thing for themselves.
And they did bad things, yes, for themselves, yes. That tradition is the problem we have. And they are still there.
Well, we are waiting for a rep from the NPP to join us too. Fad
No, this
Osman.
one we are not discussing party lines. This is Ghana. The reason why Nkrumah have to imprison some people just to give him way to develop Ghana. He has to imprison them, and we're making so much noise. Those people have gotten power. What did we see? What did we see?
We were their subjects. They own Ghana,
Yes.
and they feel Nkrumah snatched Ghana from them. But
Yes.
Ghana was never theirs.
It is
They
never
don't
theirs.
understand that.
Power grant, is it from their
Yes,
area?
they're not from their area.
Is it
Ghana,
from their area?
Ghana
Ghana
is
is never theirs.
Ghana is for Ghanaians.
It's for Ghanaians.
Anyway.
But they saw us as subjects because they felt we are in power. We want independence in the shortest possible time. And they were drinking tea with the white boys.
And this is where we must be brave to deal with people with law who misapply the state resources. This is
Oral.
the time.
Okay, we will talk about.
No, I'm
oral.
not talking oral. I said this is the time. As for oral, it is not backed by any law. I say we use the law to deal with
okay,
people
okay.
so that next time they'll know that Ghana exists before them.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. On that Nkrumah icebreaker note.
This one we've not started anything because now my communication has changed.
You see that? As you said the last time, we start on the cool note. It's fire.
Yeah.
It's something else. So
It's fire.
as of yesterday, I think the president has made 25 out of the 60 ministers he talked about. We have how many? So far, there are 7 women out of the
Yeah.
entire figure, represents some 28 point something % of it. Let's start with you. I mean, it's your government, so let's start with you. So far, your
When you say
nominations.
it's his government, it's his party.
It's his party. Sorry.
The government is for all of
Sorry,
us.
Sorry, it's your party, not your government. The government
It's
is
our government.
Ghanaians.
It's my party.
Yes. So yes, it's your party that is in power, forming the government for the people. What are your thoughts on the nominations so far? We've spoken about the first 3 already, right? So we're now
The
going to
rest
talk about
coming
the rest coming up. A lot of people have expressed surprise about Haruna Idrisu heading to the education ministry.
Yeah.
Are you surprised too, or you are not at all? It's something you anticipated.
I am not at all surprised. And to me, I did say last week that much as I'll give everybody that has been appointed excellent, I am a party man. So somebody say, because you are an NDC. But I've listened to people from all shades of political arena. And none of them is saying that, oh, this person is bad. Coming to Haruna. Haruna is a type of person that I see personally to fit that particular position very, very well. Now, why do I say so? Because as a teacher, I know that even if we don't have money, you can't take our mouths out of us. We will talk. And when we want to talk, no matter how abrasive or, excuse me to use the word, tyrant you are as a minister, we'll deal with you. And so looking at the situation at hand now, the free SHS, no stress fees, and all that, capitation grant, debt, all that, we need somebody who can sit on the table with teacher unions or academia to fine-tune or find ways to solve the national problem. And if a nation is at that deficit position in terms of resources and management, then you need a minister who can call these people round to the table, and then we talk Ghana, we talk education. And who can do that? Haruna has done it before. He was the Minister for Labor and Employment.
Yes.
And during his time, he's been able to contain the labor agitations and even support the pharmaceutical industries that I know of to produce antiretroviral drugs in this country. And so one of his comic discussions we had one day, so colleagues, you know, whatever I want, I know how to get it. And you go to the people with all respect, and then you listen to them. And so if you have such a person, to me, he's perfect for the position. Now, I said it before, and I'll always say that who am I? That one day, the day we had a demonstration to the EC and the police stopped us in I think 2019, towards the election. They stopped us here. And I was just telling a friend that, oh, during that demonstration, I lost my phone. Oh. He just had it. The next thing is to send his security guy to bring me a phone.
You?
Yes.
Haruna brought you a phone?
Yes, send a boy to even bring it to me in my house.
Wow. You lost your phone in the protest? How?
Demonstration.
Oh.
Oh, you know that day we and the police people struggled here at the Ridge Runabout. It
Yes.
was not a joke. We have to force through, led by Muntaka himself.
Yeah, I remember.
So in the process, I lost my phone. As members of parliament, we didn't force through, but we have the leaders who are recalcitrant and they don't want to use the law, that easy. They want to prevent members of parliament who don't hold guns, they don't hold any weapon, just to present a petition. We've been in that tyrant regime before, led by your government. Yes, Jim Mensah. Yes. So this person, I'm sure.
You think he's a perfect fit for the
So
ministry?
much.
Steady hand.
Looking at him, he can sit on the table with Professor Jampo and others and talk. Because as teachers, we can talk 10 hours, so we will not rest. He is not going to talk too much. As you bring your problems, you find solutions, then we move ahead. So I think he's a very perfect person. There are perfect persons, but you see, your personal character, the way you do your things to matter, not your qualification. We are not just talking about qualification here. The way you do things, the way you bring people together, the way you bring people to the table to solve problems. You have that
acumen.
That's right. That is how I see him, and I am very, very sure he will never disappoint.
Okay. And what about the Agric ministry? Eric Opoku is headed there. I mean, his also did not come as a surprise, as well as Gavin Kwame Agbuja headed for the Roots ministry as well.
Yeah. And even Ahmed.
Yes, for the local government ministry as well.
Ahmed has been on local government committee for about 20 years now. So what is there that he doesn't know? Agbuja has been on. Ahmed was ahead of us with one term.
Okay.
So this is his 5th term in parliament. And then governs Agbuja. This is the 4th term. And you saw how he discussed or dealt with issues with the former road minister, Amakwata, where he went and printed a voluminous document and shared to the MPP people and said that no, that is not correct. But Amakwata managed to deceive all of us. We are now going to see all that. I'll tell him that he knew the work, he has done it before, or he has been in that sector talking, looking at approval of rules and all this. Number one thing I will expect from him is to take what? Inventory. Honorable Agbuja, take inventory and show Ghanaians what Amakwata told us, whether it is true or it is false. Because when you go to parliament, any minister can say, oh, I've done this. But the approvals from parliaments and the kilometers of road that you are looking for money to go and construct is in the documents in parliament. You can't take it away. That is where we have to get the information from. For people to see or to know that, oh, what you were saying in the past that Amakwata, the minister, former minister, was not telling us the truth. These are the facts. and you put it there. You know, during His Excellency John Dramani Mahama first term, whilst we left office in 2017, the Minister of Education then, Matthew Poku Prempe, came to tell us that the e-blocks that he saw were what? 47. Now, after that, Dr. Luchum came, he says 23. This type of misinformation to the public is what we don't want. So we want proper inventory.
Okay.
Proper inventory. If you don't bring those things out, and immediately they give you position, you jump to go and continue whatever is there. Then you know you are going to make campaign in 2028 very difficult for NDC, because we want to hold those facts and compare them properly. Then we know or assess the value for money that the person have taken. Okay. Because if Honorable Goja, you allow Amwakwata to tell Ghanaians that they constructed the Pokwasi interchange physically, yes, but the money that was taken, I was part of that parliament that borrowed that money or gave approval under NDC for Honorable Amwakwata to come and use it to construct. So those are some of the points, because if you allow him, then it means that amount of money that is on Mahama's debt balance sheet has been stolen or will be stolen. Because if Amwakwata puts it on their debt bill that, oh, we've constructed Pokwasi interchange, how much was it? And then he mentioned a figure, it means we allow him to steal from Ghanaians. Let proper accountability show, so that Ghanaians who have heard him before will now juxtapose his present in then and his past today.
All right.
So that we move on.
All right. But in general, what is your general assessment of our appointment so far? Aside the two you've spoken about now,
I told
generally, you are satisfied.
Well, I say I am satisfied, but all of them need our prayers.
Okay.
To succeed. From president, the vice president, the nominees, appointees to come, they all need our prayers. And I am also praying for patience from Ghanaians, not patience that they will not work. And I am praying for responsible opposition without cacophonous noise from NPP.
Okay. All right. Mr. Jantwa, let me come to you.
Fab, you say, that is the candid warning.
I've just been, so we have been joined by the member of the communications team of the NPP. He's Fad Osman. He's joined us in the studio. Good morning to you. Thank you very much.
Good morning.
I hope you're well.
I'm doing very well.
Okay.
I'm doing very well.
So let me go to Mr. Jantwa. I will come to you. Mr. Jantwa, you are with the AGI, and I'm sure trade will be very important to you, as well as, okay, trade has agribusiness now with the realignment of the ministry. Elizabeth of Usujare is headed there. Your thoughts?
I think agribusiness, good morning to our listeners. I think agribusiness is key in terms of the agricultural industry. Nanado tried to bring in one district, one factory. Unfortunately, the handling of one district, one factory did not allow him to achieve much with it. But it was a good try. Adding value to agri products is a very important thing. And with Madam Ajari, I've had a few interactions with her, and I think she's competent enough to be able to handle the ministry. Very important ministry. President Mahama is basing his second coming with agriculture, and I think everybody should have a farm. Everybody should have a farm. I think it's a good thing to be able to grow your own food. Some of us who lived in the Operation Feed Yourself days saw the reasoning and the result of Operation Feed Yourself on Ghana. And if we could go back to Operation Feed Yourself in a more scientific way, I think it will help this country and help this country tremendously.
Do you have any expectations of her?
I expect her to listen. I expect her to be a team player. I expect her not to play too much politics. I would have liked a situation where the Minister of Industry would be the Minister of Industry and Agribusiness instead of adding trade to it.
Okay.
Because trade becomes a very easy thing for ministers to do. But we need the agri-industry. We need it. I keep saying this. Costa Rica is the #1 producers of pineapple. Grows huge plantations. Côte d'Ivoire is #2. We are next door to Côte d'Ivoire. Our pineapples attract premium on the international market, but we don't grow on plantation basis. We have 3 different types: Sugarloaf, MD2, and Smooth Cayenne. They are all sweet fruits, and if we were to channel it properly, we can even use the waste in added value where pineapples are concerned. So I hope she opens her mind and listen and not be dogmatic and stick to what party. But I'm sure President Mahama should bring out a plan where agriculture is concerned. They should also look at the Planting for Food and Jobs.
Okay.
I think that document is a fantastic document.
That should be under Ministry for Agriculture.
Yes.
Food and Agriculture,
yes.
right? And Eric Opoku is headed there.
Yeah, but it is an added value document.
Okay.
Which should be used between both.
Okay.
I also pray that that kind of machoism between ministries does not happen in this administration.
More collaboration.
Where everybody feels I'm boss and that they don't talk to each other. There should be more collaboration between the state institutions and the ministries. Because you see, with this particular term of President Mahama, we are building a nation. And to build a nation, you need everybody's hands on the deck to build the nation. So I'm hoping that it will be a good one. I'm hoping that they'll be transparent. I'm hoping that they would be able to do what they say they will do. And if they can't, they should communicate to the people. That is one thing the MPP didn't do too well with. And they should take the mistakes of the MPP to do what? To make it better for the future. Because we are one people. The MPP is a party, but they are Ghanaians, like you and I. They believe in a certain ideology, which unfortunately they weren't able to handle that ideology properly. And so Ghanaians said, we'll show you your way out. But if they had stuck to whatever they had promised that they will do, I don't think it would have given President Mahama the chance to come back. But his coming back shows that he is more dedicated this time around, shows that he knows where he's going to, shows that he has the vision, shows that he's looking for people who would be able to execute that vision. And so far, the people that he has picked seem to have the ability, not capacity, the ability to do the work that is in front of them. You talked about education, and it's being given to
Haruna Idrisu.
We know Haruna. He is, what's the word I'm looking for? Astute in the way he does his things. And he's a people's person. And we need people not to be, they say it, how do they say it in the local language? When you are, what do you call it? No, I'm this, I'm that. We don't need that kind of thing. The one thing I'm also looking at, are we going to get the one who ministers?
Which one? He says 60 minutes.
Are we going to get the one who ministers?
What is that?
I don't know what that means. Ministers with sirens in front of them. Are we going to get it? Hey, it's very necessary. It's very, very necessary. One.
You don't want them to have.
Before one who came, the ministers were doing their work.
Oh, okay. Before the sirens, so they used to drive without the sirens.
They used to drive without sirens.
Oh, I see.
What traffic? If you know you have something, leave your house early. And probably Parliament and the ministers should have a pool, where if they feel they need to do things quickly, they just pull from the pool. It's not every day one. The people are not happy with that one.
Okay.
And they should do what the people want, because the people who put them there. This massive vote that the NDC has, who gave it to them? Was it NDC members?
Ghanaians.
Ghanaians.
All right.
So this one thing,
They should stop.
they should stop.
Or tone down.
It should tone down. They don't have any choice, because the MPP has handed over all their vehicles. Majority of those vehicles are 4x4s. We can't allow the vehicles to stand and rot. So they should use it, but they should use it in such a way that it doesn't poke the eye of the Ghanaian.
Okay. For me, one of the ministries I'm keen on is the Ministry of Roads and Highways, because Accra is too dark. In the evenings, driving in Accra is a risky sport, because literally everywhere is dark. So please, kindly pass on the message to Mr. Abuja that he should make sure that the street lights are working.
Can I come in there?
Please do.
I have a huge interest in roads and highways, because I've been a practitioner of roads and highways for 10 years before I moved into the oil industry. And at the time, when you build a road, you don't say you've built a road without putting the road safety devices on the road.
Yeah.
President Rawlings would not commission a road if there's no street lights, if there's no road line marking, if there are no crash barriers, if there are no road signs, if there are no zebra crossings on the road. Forget it. That needs to be on the road to say you've completed the road. So I hope the new minister would make sure that all this is on the road before,
Any road
especially the road line marking.
And for the existing roads like the Tema Motorway,
again,
the N1.
Now, I want the minister to come in.
The roads minister?
Yes.
Okay.
To come in and create jobs.
Okay.
You know how we create the jobs?
How do you do that?
All side roads should be paving blocks.
Okay.
All side.
Is it a pedestrian walkway?
Look. In front of your office here. What is it?
It's paving blocks.
How long has that road been there?
Oh, it's lasted long.
Even
recently, there's a roundabout around the farm milk area.
The farm milk area, they changed it, yes.
Yes, to paving blocks.
All side roads in the country should be paving blocks. What does that do? There are quite a lot of people in the communities who do paving blocks.
Yeah.
If you structure it well, you can create employment for those people. And you see, you don't need huge trucks. You don't need to buy bitumen. You don't need to do so many other things. You can even give the contract to those people to do supervision from Urban Roads and Ghana Highway Authority.
Okay.
And you see, anytime a paving block is cracked, what do?
You can just remove it and replace it.
And replace it.
And
in the UK, there's something called cobblestones. And the cobblestone roads started in the 18th century. It's still there today. Go to Carnaby Street, off Oxford Street. Those roads are cobblestone roads, and they last. So let's open our minds and think. Road tolls should be in the 21st century, if possible 22nd century, where you don't have to employ people. It's automatic. You pass through Ati from Momo. You pass through Ati from Momo. Money doesn't change hands from anybody. I remember when I was handling the road toll at Adome Bridge. At the time, this is early 2000, I brought a gadget that you can place underneath the road, and it will count all the vehicles passing. then when after during the after the week, you take it out, plug it into your computer, and it gives you all, and you match it to the revenue that you've got. That is the kind of road tolls we are looking for.
Real time. Okay.
So you can see he has his work cut out. There are certain roads that he needs to look at and work quickly. This motorway that they are expanding, please communicate it better for Ghanaians to understand every step of the way what is happening. It will help all of us, and it will help us also support him to do what he has to do.
All right. Let me go to Fad.
I might even consider going back into roads.
Now that the tolls are going to come back.
Not even tolls. The road line marking bit. Very interesting.
It's very interesting.
Yes,
fantastic.
Very interesting.
We will give you all the support.
And it's not paint too.
What is it?
It's not liquid paint, it's powder.
Oh, wow.
It's called thermoplastic paint.
So powder is in...
And nobody manufactures it in the entire continent of Africa.
Really?
Yes. And we have the raw material in Ghana to do thermoplastic paint.
Unbelievable. Osman.
Don't write it down.
Oh, uncle. I'm learning from my uncle. What's the big deal for getting a knowledge
all right,
like
so
this from you?
At least I'm sure there's one ministry that would pique your interest.
Well, there are some few.
The one in relation to the Ministry of Youth
and
Youth Development and Empowerment. I'm sure this is something that speaks directly to you as a youth in the country.
Yep.
What did you make of the creation of that ministry, and then the gentleman selected to head it? That is in the person of George Opariado.
I thank you very much. First, let me use the opportunity to say good morning to you and to your listeners and to my uncles here. This week we've been meeting and crossing. I think yesterday or 2 days ago I was with my uncle somewhere. And this morning I had one with my uncle Kwame. But it's important that we also acknowledge that yes, the NDC is enjoying a certain goodwill, and I think majority of it comes from the youth. Looking at the campaign they had to put together, they had a youth manifesto. If you remember very well, they launched that one before their main manifesto. So I think it is in order that they've decided to find a nice way of putting together a ministry purposely for the development of the youth. It's good. And as a youth, and I think as a youth, I welcome it, because I'll be happy to see my colleagues getting empowered, getting opportunities to find themselves in places where they'll be well off. So it's a good one. And looking at the personality being appointed to occupy that particular office, he has been the national youth organizer of the NDC, I think, for 2 terms. Yeah, and he had been able to manage the youth wing of the NDC. To be very honest, though we are coming from 2 different political parties, I have to acknowledge it that he had been able to manage that particular outfit very well, putting together this Green Army and these youth groups. I believe they had this 5K men on standby and everything.
Operation Activate
body cams and 5K men. I believe they have a lot of youth groups they will need to satisfy moving forward. They are all Ghanaians. I don't believe in the ideologies that if you're satisfying a party people, there's something entirely wrong with it. I don't believe in that. They are Ghanaians first, before they becomes NDC or MPP. So if the government or the administration deem it fit to put together a ministries like this, and also appoint somebody who understands the youth of their party so well to manage it, I will welcome it. But as I keep saying, it's early days yet. Yes,
the job hasn't
started.
Yes.
So we will give them that space. At least they've enjoyed the goodwill. And you see, when somebody enjoys goodwill to that extent, you need to be very careful how you come after them. If not, you end up even provoking the people of this country towards your party. So I think at these stages, we wish them well. So far, the names coming out, we wish them well. I believe the promise was that there will be 60 ministers. And so far, I'm told...
There's 25.
25.
They're left with 35.
35 to go. And per the 120-day social contract, in 14 days, all the cabinet ministers will be ready.
Yeah.
So I believe some few days left. And looking at the way the appointments are coming, I'm told the NDC, social media, NDC communicators have this nice way of describing the appointments. With the way the letter comes, I'm told there's a green letter that revokes rather,
yes.
And there's white letters that appoints.
Yes.
So very beautiful. And we've not noticed it. When you see the green letter, it's rather revoking somebody's appointment from somewhere. Or when you see a white letter, it's appointing somebody. So we'll be looking forward to new appointments, I believe, within the day or in the coming days. We wish them well. We wish them well. It's early days. But then what we can assure them, as my uncle called on us, we are going to be a very responsible opposition. That we will assure them. We know they are enjoying a goodwill from the Ghanaian people. We're only telling the Ghanaian people that in as much as how painful this defeat is to us, they should bear with us. We are a political organization. We'll be here to constructively criticize and also make our suggestions and make our opinion heard. And we'll tell them whenever they go wrong, and we'll give them credits whenever whatever right comes with the administration. We're not like them, because when I was coming, I was listening to them in the car, where my uncle tried to create the impression that anything or everything MPP is negative. Everything, that's what he tried to say. He said, with relations with Kwame Nkrumah and everything. My uncle from the NDC. You know, I have two uncles. I'm being sandwiched by my two favorite uncles. My uncle from the NDC, Honorable, tried to create the impression that anything from the MPP is bad. It's wrong. I find it very... Uncle Daniel. I find it's very intriguing, Uncle. Everything from the MPP is bad.
You must learn history.
No, you see, it is very unfortunate. Very unfortunate at my young age. The little history I've also come to understand about this country is that, you see, we had Kwame Nkrumah, a very beautiful regime, very first president of our country. We respect him for that. Certainly, there were some wrongs with this administration. When a president feels that somebody's after his life, and because of that, he puts together a law. That law allows him to put people people in prison for 5 years with no trial. And you think that was so very okay, Uncle? So if people opposes this,
he didn't have fundamental human rights.
Please, how many years did you put Paul Afoko behind that?
You see, you were two. The two of you were here. The two of you were here. You were pouring everything on them. I'm here to respond. So you see now. You see how the UP tradition. We don't have any problem. Ghanaians out there, as I said.
And you want to change history?
They've given. We never changed.
You want to change history?
We only added up to the history of this country. And what is important is that
1st July, which is
you had your time. You see, I was listening to them in the car when I was coming. When I was driving to this, I was listening to them. You had your time. You were bombarding everything on the MVP. But just one response.
Radio your car in opposition.
What is it? You having a radio? You see the mischief and the policy, Uncle Daniel.
Even in opposition, you have radio in the car.
You see the NDC, Ghanaians out there knows what happened.
Made yourself rich.
So you shouldn't have a radio in my car.
You shouldn't know. I don't even have
Even the woman
even in opposition.
Even the woman has a radio in the car.
You see the mischief of my uncle. You see, by then it is important that we've come a long way.
No, let me put this small thing is that Kwame Naba tells during Kufuor's time. Yeah. The radio station called and said, "Oh, I was even listening to you in my bathroom." Then can they say, "Hey, even your bathroom you have radio?"
That's beautiful one.
Oh dear.
See, what is important is that as politicians, we all have our political ideologies.
Yes.
And in political brand hate, there is something we call ideological incompatibility. So if certainly your ideologies are incompatible to certain ideologies, you tend to become an enemy to that particular ideology. So sometimes your narrative, like my uncle's political hate, I said political brand hate. Let me use I use the word political brand hate.
But you said enemy.
No problem. Thank you for the correction. Let me use a very more appropriate word.
We are all one
opponents or opposition.
Yes, better.
But I use the political brand hate, so I think it really explains what I mean by being an enemy to a brand. There's nothing wrong with that. So some of these narratives are welcomed in our discussions. But what is important is that let's give credit where it's due. You cannot sit on national platform like this and try to create the impression that everything that happened within the 8 years of President Akufo-Addo was wrong. You can't do that. At least there were some positives that we can also call them out and give some credit. There were negatives, we do admit. If not negatives,
overshadowed the positives.
Uncle, please let me make my point. If we never had the negatives, I don't think Ghanaians will have voted out of office. So certainly we do acknowledge there were negatives, Uncle. But let's, as people who wants to build a country, also acknowledge that they were positive. I will never sit on any platform and say that John Dramani Mahama first term, John Mahama won. Everything was negative. There were positives. Building the terminal 3 at the airports, for instance, a very good one. So I think. So moving forward, President Kufuor left them irreject projects, 6 district hospitals. They left them there in so-called time, where Sedin Ketia is from. 8 years, the hospital was still there. We came to complete it. So sometimes let's acknowledge that there will be challenges, there will be difficulties, but moving forward, there's a new administration, new king, new laws, and there will be some of these things you'll be hearing, new appointees. We are happy for them. They worked so well for their party. But one appointment in particular, that's the Eric Opoku one, that's the Agric, right?
Yes.
Eric Opoku in opposition was very vociferous when it comes to cocoa prices, if you remember very well. I remember when we increased cocoa prices some time ago in the past, he went to the cocoa growing areas to organize the cocoa farmers and told them in their faces that the MPP administration is cheating you people. They should have paid you more than what they are paying you today. Yesterday night, I had a conversation with one of my friends who is into cocoa farming. He was like, Fad, we are happy Eric Opoku is coming. But he came to tell us some time ago in the past that MPP was cheating us. Now he's coming, we know he's going to give us some higher prices. So I'm just using the opportunity to send this message out to him. The honorable, just like you did in opposition, be a man of your word. I know you definitely we're looking at their numbers in parliament, all these appointees will go through. With the protection from the vetting committee's chairman, or the overprotection, let me use the overprotection from the vetting committee chairman, they all go through. So what is important is that the work is out there waiting for them.
All right.
When he gets there, he should try and ensure that the prices he promised the cocoa farmers, he should please be a man of his words and give it them to them. And with education, last one, with education. I think one area that we are all much concerned as young people is that President Akufo-Addo, before becoming president, promised the people of this country that we need to improve upon our education systems and make it accessible to all to a certain level, where he brought in the free senior high school policy. Fortunately, he was able to implement it in his first year, which I believe there are figures out there, some being contested though, but there's a certain level of number of students who have gone through that policy or that program, and we've seen them out there. The NDC promised in 2024, that they were going to implement a certain policy which will ensure that every single student who gets admission to the tertiary institutions in this country for the first year will not have to pay fees, right? That was the policy, and they called it a very beautiful name. I'm told fee stress or something, I don't know.
No stress.
No fee stress.
No fee stress.
Very good, something like that. Harun Idrisu has been a former leader of the Students' Union before. He understands the challenges students go through. So I'm using this opportunity too to also send a message out to him that I'm a student myself as we speak. I'm still in school. My colleagues are saying that if Nana Addo's administration has been voted out and there's a new government who promised to give them free tertiary education for the first year, and also, in addition, promised that second year, third year, fourth year, they'll be giving a certain improvement in the student loan systems. If you remember very well, students from the University of Ghana, where I am, are saying that, Mr. President, Honorable Harun Idrisu, you've been a NUCS president before, you understand the challenges of students. Please, first year begins this January. If you are aware, it should have started, I think, September last year, but for whatever reasons and difficulties, it starts January. There's a new king. Mr. President, Honorable Harun Idrisu, please quickly get to work and ensure that our students who have gotten admission to the tertiary institutions across the country enjoys from this beautiful policy. And I think if we're able to improve upon it, we'll have a lot of Ghanaians who will be training in schools. And I believe my uncle will bear with me that any country that has developed or has seen that level of development to a large extent depends on the number of people they've trained through education. So if we're able to train more of our people within our education system, I'm certain in my mind that we'll get to a certain level where we'll appreciate that we've come a long way and we can do better moving forward.
Thank you very much. Now, do you have a quick response? I saw that you were noting some things.
Yeah,
or you
the only thing I'll tell my brother is that I didn't say that Nana Addo didn't do anything good. We are looking at issues. When you are drawing a balance sheet, the most important thing that will crack your head is the debt that is on the balance sheet, not the profit. We are talking about the situations that are on the table right now. So I didn't sit down here to compare Nana Addo's government. We're talking about Dankwa Buzia. When you start this country from Nkrumah, then came General Ankara Kutuka School, then the power is given to Afrifa. Afrifa organizes the Second Republic elections, gave it to Dankwa Buzia. Then from Buzia we have a Champon. In a Champon we have a palace school, and they gave it to who? They gave it to Akufu. There came the 1979. When you look at all these things and you ask yourself, why were all these things coming? The General Ankara and others who organized the coup 1966, was 1966, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why did they do so? after all good things that Nkrumah was doing? These are some of the questions we should ask. So the first people to organize school in this country are the real traitors of this country, because what Nkrumah was doing at even the international level were very okay. We are competing with the world, not with Africa or West Africa.
Did you support the coup of the 1966? Because I see you shaking your head.
I think that sometimes when we discuss these issues, we need to put them in its right context. You see, if my uncle makes this assertion, please, and try to create the impression that all those coming from that particular angle of the political ideologies are the problem of this country, I think it's a bit challenging to accept that from him.
No.
Why?
No, if he describes...
It is not Dankwa Busia.
A moment. If he describes the people who did the first coup makers as the traitors of this republic, what is wrong with it?
Before I went into that area where he went, I made a certain, I gave, I think, an indication to a certain law that was passed. You see, I said here that I don't think, as at that time, people then really appreciated everything Nkrumah did. So it's motivated some of these schools that we had to witness the first coup, right? Where I indicated that Nkrumah believed that his life was in danger. And as a result of that, he passed a law, which that law allowed him alone to put anybody in prison without trial. And certainly people with such law, people will rebel against it. So there were some measures that Nkrumah took then that provoked people to take and go through that processes to overthrow his administration.
But I think we are all speaking at the moment. At the moment we are all speaking with the benefit of hindsight.
Yes.
And therefore, I don't think that if he says the first coup makers are the traitors of this republic.
First coup makers are not Dankwa Busia.
Nah, I am not. Nah.
Yes.
Do you know what killed Nkrumah?
Pardon?
Nkrumah, do you know what killed him?
No.
The bomb.
The Kulungugu bomb.
It poisoned him.
What kind of bomb was it? It was a bomb that spreads.
Yeah.
It went into Nkrumah's body. They couldn't do anything about the pellets in his body.
And
when Nkrumah died,
orchestrated that.
he was white. Died of cancer from the pellets in his body. And you're trying to tell me that he didn't have fundamental human rights? That he shouldn't protect himself? That a little girl giving you flowers?
Yes.
Come on.
I think the lady...
Come on. The lady who, what do you call it? Her foot.
She sustained injuries,
You see, you should not allow... You see, the first coup is what brought about the other coups. And when you listen to them, they say economic problem. By the time they left office, what balance sheet have they left?
Daniel, that first coup took us back.
That is what I'm saying.
Yes.
You see,
that is what I'm saying.
So
let me finish.
As for the Nkrumah conversation, we can go on and
let me just finish.
But they don't want to accept. They don't want to accept.
They don't want. We have to deal with that.
We say Nkrumah is the founder of this country. Some of them say no.
Let's not have that.
Can I have
let me end on.
I've been bombarded by two.
We are not bombarding you. You are our young boy that we are training. Learn proper history. I was a teacher. I taught social studies.
I go history.
Now, when we talk about Eurojet, Kufuor left a policy. I agree, but Kufuor never borrowed money to undertake any Eurojet project. All money were borrowed under Mills Mahama. As for the policy, the Eurojet policy, fine, it was for Kufuor. He didn't leave any money. He didn't take any loan for those projects. So we pick the hospitals that we are talking in Ashanti region, those 8 hospitals that Mahama and Mills started and some near completion, and they left them, Afari and others, they left them to rot. People who said that they brought the policy, the hospitals were near completion, they came 8 years, they left it like that. Today you want to mention that. So these are some of the things, when you are mentioning them, be very careful, because the history, if you Google the Eurojet projects, who look for the funding for it, you will see it. in the social media.
Okay.
So those are some of the things that
I think we've exhausted the conversation on the ministers and everything in Kumayos. Let's talk about another matter, which is in relation to the recall of the service and diplomatic passports. Service and diplomatic passports. Yes. So that is in relation to the deadline is what, 24th of January. We engaged Dr. Vladimir in Chidanso, and he talked about how, it's in line with due process, and he wants there to be, a proper criteria set out with regard to who should be giving a diplomatic passport, because yes, it's left at the discretion of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or the Minister of Foreign Affairs, but then again, we know that
every Tom, Dick and Kwaku was getting it.
So, and it's not just limited to this government in particular. Government after government have been doing so. Yeah. And so, do you support the call for stricter measures with regard to how these passports are issued? Because if we abuse the process, there'll be little value to it.
Yeah.
So let's start with you.
Actually, for the president or the statement not to say that bring it within 2 hours, it tells you that it is not capricious.
Has it been done like that before?
I say for that.
Okay.
It is not capricious. And all the, excuse me to use the word, level-headed Ghanaians agree to it that by all means, once you are out of power, you have to bring. Maybe somebody goes to hire an aeroplane for Nanado, and then the one they have been chartering, then they give the person
diplomatic or service pass.
Now Nanado is no more in power, and then we are no more chartering aeroplane. Why should we be keeping that diplomatic? So it is useless. So let's take it back. And then the new government too is going to issue. So nobody should be so worried. He's going to issue maybe to the religious, traditional leaders, but that will be on his record. All those who are having it right now is on the record of Nanado. And Nanado now is ex-president or former president. So I think it is in place. Nobody should make any issue about this. There are people that the only problem we have is that people, some people don't need it, but they gave it to them. It is like diplomatic passport was flowing on the corridors of some people. You like this, you didn't get one. Meanwhile, you are communicating every day. Those who didn't even go to radio station, they don't do anything. They were having diplomatic passports in their pocket. And so do you know what diplomatic passport can do, my sister? It can take you anywhere in the world.
Without a visa?
Yes, I was having it the time I was an MP.
A member of parliament, yes. So yes, even with this notification, it applies to both former
MPs
and current MPs. So
fortunately, mine, immediately I left power, it expires. So I don't even go to, because I am no more an MP. But it is my prayer that when His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is giving new ones, I should get one to work for Ghana. So that one is to, because Nana too gave some people who were not even talking on radio. They gave them some, okay, I'll not mention. So I think it is right to manage the system.
Okay.
It is right for the president today to know who is holding the diplomatic passport and then going out there in the name of Ghana. Okay. So this one is just an administrative process that I think is okay.
Okay. Fad?
All right, thank you very much. I think I said this yesterday on the other platform, that's the issuance of the letter calling for service and diplomatic passports to me was needless.
Okay.
Why? Because all diplomatic passport holders, they are not strangers. They didn't acquire the passport out of the thin air. They went through processes, and their informations are already with the Foreign Affairs Ministry. So if you want to recall the passport, you don't need to make it even public. Come and write. The information.
Not informations.
Oh, sorry, Uncle. Sorry. Informations are with them. This is my uncle, with the Foreign Affairs Ministry.
Because other people are listening.
You can use details to be safe.
Details are with the information. Sorry, the Foreign Affairs Ministry. Yeah. So it's easy to call them, send out messages that there's a new king in town. There's a new king.
But in fact, it was a letter to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
And the Foreign Affairs, and Foreign Affairs also wrote a letter.
Issued a publication.
The publication on it that we are recalling every passport in the form of diplomatic or service passports. Yeah. Bring it back. There's a new king. And I, as my uncle indicated earlier on, see, if you were with the formal administration. There's a new king. Privileges you were enjoying, you will not get them again. Do you get the point?
So you don't even need to be told.
You don't need to be told. Just put it away. Or give it to them. They are calling for it. Just go and return it to them. You'll be free from there. My brother, my sister, the point is that before our President Akufo became president, you were having your life already. So why do you need to allow somebody to start chasing
but
you
you
for
know that
a passport?
life in power is not the same as life in opposition.
Well, the point is that we've lost the elections. If you are a formal appointee of, please, we've lost the elections. If you are a formal appointee of President Akufo's administration and you've not woken up to the reality, I'm reminding you this morning that we've lost the elections. We are in opposition. Don't allow anybody to come chasing you out of office. And let me send this same warning to some of the CEOs who are still in office and saying that there's this, I think, ruling.
Constitutional, the Supreme Court ruling.
That they should still stay. Please, you were not there prior to Akufo becoming president. You were appointed through a political means, right? The political power changes. Go home. Don't be there and allow people to be chasing you, coming to your houses and coming to your offices with tags to tell you that they're sacking you. It's not work for your personality, I think, moving forward. But one thing is that moving forward into the future, this diplomatic passport are very, very important.
Yeah.
And how we issue it out. You see, discretion, using discretion to issue out something is very, very important. I might be friends to maybe the foreign affairs minister.
Yeah, discretion is subject to abuse.
Abuse, certainly. He feels like, oh, Fahad is my friend, so let me give him one. Certainly, I might not even need it. They get the point. So I think there should be some parameters in determining who qualifies for it.
Okay, so he supports Vladimir's position.
I support that call because we cannot allow people to abuse it anyhow. Some time ago, you hear people saying that, oh, there's this guy I know, he has one. Today, he's here, tomorrow he's there.
It became sort of a bragging document, you know?
I'm telling you, some religious leaders in this country, they were bragging over it, that maybe more diplomatic passports. Clearly, you get the point. So I think that moving forward into the future, we should be a bit careful in how we issue it out.
Okay.
And also to ensure that if we're giving it out to somebody, some of them use it for their own business activities. And some of these business deals might not be good for the country.
Yeah, the country's image
is out there. But they see it, why coming from Ghana with the diplomatic passport and you engage in this particular deal, I think it's not good for the country. So moving forward, we should be very careful in how we issue it out. I know government have friends. Certainly there will be friends in there who will be getting it. But we should be careful how we give it out, and we should be a bit mindful of the kind of friends we give this passport out to, because whatever activities they involve with this passport, these information will come out. Today we are living in a very small world where whatever happens in UK, within an hour or within a minute, in Ghana we get to hear that these Ghanaians were involved in some deals, and this, you get the point. So I think moving forward, I support what Dr. Vladimir Nchidaku said, that we should have some parameters in taking our times in determining who truly qualifies. I agree there'll be friends. I agree there'll be friends.
And let's not abuse the process.
Abuse the process so that it will not end up in wrong hands where they'll be using it for some wrong deals that will be bring some negative perception or negative impact on the image of the goodwill of this country.
Thank you so much.
I think that's very important.
Mr. Mr. Dankwa.
No.
Mr. Jantwa.
Jantwa.
He was talking about Dankwa Pussy.
I was listening to him, though he was bashing my party's tradition. Hey.
Mr. Jantwa, you equally support the call? Have you ever enjoyed
diplomatic passport?
I don't need it.
But yeah, you're not a friend of the government. You need one.
No, I don't.
At this old, at old age,
No, I
you need one
don't
to
need it.
travel around
I don't need it. I don't need it.
and explore the world.
I don't need a visa to travel anywhere, so I don't need it.
Okay.
So you don't travel out.
The question is.
He travels, but he doesn't need a visa.
The question is. The question is, whose responsibility is it to give out diplomatic passports?
It's at the discretion of the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
The discretion.
Yes.
So that discretion can be used willy-nilly. Even you have that discretion, there's regulation attached to that discretion. So you can give it to Kwame Janto. Hey, Kwame, come and get. I'm Minister of Foreign Affairs.
It has happened like that before.
It is wrong.
And then DPN.
It is wrong. Why is it wrong? That passport represents Ghana. When you hold that passport and you get to immigration, you represent Ghana.
You are an ambassador.
You're expected to have a reason why you are holding a diplomatic passport. And the immigration officer can ask you why you have a diplomatic passport, and should be able to explain why. Here, we give it to religious leaders, give it to chiefs, give it to any Tom, Dick, and Kwaku. But there is a reason for a diplomatic passport. What's the color?
I don't know the
It's
color.
red.
Straight.
Ah, the red one.
It's
Yeah,
red.
I see.
And there's a reason. Government is not like any other business. Can you walk into Flagstaff House?
No.
As in any time you want to walk into Flagstaff House? Can you walk into the military base as and when you want to walk into the military base? Even today, walking into the police headquarters, you've got to go through some process, let alone diplomatic passport that describes a country. No. If you have a foreign minister who doesn't use their discretion well, they should be penalized for it.
Do you
Because
think
it is wrong.
Do you think that over the years we have diminished the value?
Like everything it's like everything we do in Ghana, because we have power, we think we have power, so we can do anything. We are above the law. And that particular thing should stop. Because now we don't respect laws in this country, and we don't enforce
That's true.
laws in this country. And if we respect laws and enforce laws, a lot of things will fall in place. Why should the priest have a diplomatic passport? Why?
Maybe he's running some.
If you are no.
And it's one of the questions I did ask Dr. Vladimir Intridas, whether he thought that some of the people on the list were undeserved. He says, for instance, religious leaders. What exactly? Traditional leaders, what exactly do they need diplomatic
You see,
passports
they
for?
can give you a diplomatic passport if you are doing some work for the country.
Yeah.
So President Mahama has called me, Kwame Jantua, go and represent us here. Here is your diplomatic passport to go and come. And if when you come back, you should hand in that diplomatic passport. I didn't see my father have a diplomatic passport. He was Minister of Agriculture. I didn't see it in those days. They traveled and they got visa and they traveled and came back. They could have been diplomatic passport, but I never saw it. I was in charge of cleaning his room. My father would not allow houseboy or house girl to clean his room because he couldn't trust them. So I was in charge. I never saw diplomatic passport in his room. No, he wouldn't. Those people, they were very astute too. Because they didn't want information
About
in
them.
what they were doing outside.
Yeah.
So they won't let anybody come and clean that. And so he forced me to clean his room. So every morning I would clean his room, iron his suit, polish his shoe, his paper, his documents. He would give it to me to go and put in a particular place.
You were the one he could trust.
He was the one I could trust.
I like that one. He was the one he could trust.
Yes, I was the one he could trust. Being his only son at the time, I was the one he could trust. And he was training me in a certain way. And so diplomatic passports shouldn't be taken as anybody can get it. No. And I expect President, you see, one of the challenges I would see President Mahama going through is the fact that he doesn't have his eyes everywhere. Nkrumah had his own network. My father said, when Nkrumah calls you on a subject, you know he's got his facts ready. Don't come and lie to him. If you stand and lie, he'll give you another opportunity. He'll tell you, go and think about the discussion and come back and let's discuss it again. Because he knows what you're saying is you're lying. I don't want to give instances that some examples he gave me or some other ministers. And so, at this crucial time, and you see the people are watching President Mahama. Look, we took for granted Ghana. We took it for granted though. Although they won in 2020, with the vote in 2020, they won. We didn't listen. That is very, very crucial where Ghanaians are concerned. So people are watching President Mahama every step he takes.
Every move he makes.
What did we hear just a few days ago
About
President Mahama's vehicle?
the one in the pool.
They
The
said
four-wheel drive.
a four-wheel drive.
Yes.
It was a V8 or something.
They said it's a
It wasn't.
The one they contracted.
No.
no, not Canada.
His
Yeah.
private vehicle.
His private
No,
vehicle.
I'm
That's
coming.
the pool.
I'm coming. Yes, that is his private vehicle. Oh.
Yes.
People were talking about it. His private vehicle. Use his own money to buy it. Wait. People are talking about it.
Why?
No,
But why do they have the coat of arms on his private vehicle?
No. So here's the thing. It first started with, he just came into office. How come he spends the state money to purchase? Initially, they said $800,000. Then somebody else came and said that it was $600,000. Then information came that it's actually his personal vehicle that has always been part of his pool. Then the complaint was that, so why is it the coat of arms there?
You see, and this is a point I'm making. They are looking every little bit of the way they will look at it. Now the fact that he doesn't have, that's the case. The fact that he doesn't have his eyes everywhere, he should also try as much as possible to get his own people who would make sure that things are being done right.
Okay. And
if he's put a minister in place, he's put Daniel in place as regional coordinator for XYZ.
I'm praying hard.
Your prayers should come he's put him in place for XYZ. And he steps out of line. We should see that he stepped out of line. He shows action that would put everybody straight. Diplomatic passports, I don't think should be given to everybody. If you are not doing some work on behalf of the state, you don't deserve a diplomatic passport.
That merits that passport.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you are not doing anything where the state is concerned, you don't need a policeman to be sitting in your car.
Is that possible?
Religious leaders, go and look.
Sure.
No. For protection.
What kind of medium protection? Medium in protection? No.
You need to give them some level of protection.
Why?
If you give,
Are they waiting for the state?
There are those who have said that, see, a lot of the times we insulate our leaders so much from our problems that they get out of touch. And it's the reason sometimes they do not see what we see. And when people are complaining about they going through some, maybe our roads are bad. We have Land Cruisers, so they are comfortable. Whenever they go over the potholes, they don't feel it as much as those of us who are using saloon cars and stuff.
I just took my car to the mechanics in December to fix the bottom of it. It's gone again because of the roads.
Yeah. So
Because of the roads.
And now, do you know something too?
quickly.
Leaders of the country, religious or whatever, continue to tighten security when unemployment is rising so high.
Actually, one of the major security threats.
Yes, it's a security threat. So they're afraid. So they should create job, and everybody will forget about politicians and religious leaders.
And Ghanaians are for you see,
Yes, if you have job, you don't have any business.
Yes,
trying to go
exactly.
and attack anybody.
Because every morning you wake up, you have to go to
a
work.
job.
Is there any, please, I get you, please. I believe that, I don't know, I stand to be corrected. Is there any economy in the world where unemployment does not exist? Is there any economy?
There is none, but it's about
the degree of it.
the
So
rate.
we need to work on
It's
it.
on the
We all
rate.
agree that this election is one of the major factors that affected us was unemployment. We do admit to that.
But let me tell you something. If your government or your party had handled planting for food and jobs right,
Well,
there will be a lot of work.
I do agree with.
A lot of
One
work.
is to
No, I
12
believe I've said
Because
this,
the
that we need
planting for
extra
food and
funds
jobs
in our
document,
economy.
it even had home
Garden.
farms.
I don't know. Sometimes the politicians, they
No,
come up with
it's-
beautiful policies. The
Time, but they can't
implementation.
implement.
I've said this before. I think opposition has started some few lessons, few days in opposition, and I
Few
use
days.
I use this word that
What is
we're
it?
all in the hands of time, right?
Yeah.
It's good. There's a new government today. That's good. I believe Ghanaians really complained, and we all Ghanaians. We feel the heat.
So you felt the heat then?
Uncle,
But you didn't talk.
I have never pretended.
But you never talked.
I've
You
been
were
on platforms
defending
with
the
you.
heat.
No,
Yeah,
please,
you were
please.
defending the heat.
I've been on platforms with you.
I was on stations with you. With you, right? You defended the heat.
We've always acknowledged.
So
that
kindly
they've
make your
been
point.
hit.
Please, your microphones are
Oh,
on. Can you let
Uncle.
Osman speak?
Hey.
Osman, quickly,
Is
in
it
2
quickly?
minutes.
In 2 minutes. What I'm saying is that there is a new government. We wish them well, and we hope and pray that they will not disappoint the people of this country. And I use the opportunity to call my NDC brothers too. That you see, they're looking at the system and the space in which they won these elections. They should use some of their time to also manage expectations.
Okay.
Because the expectations are very high now. Very, very high.
I mean, if you get over 180 seats in Parliament with 56 points something percent in terms of
the expectations are very high. So you need to manage it. And 4 years, we will know. You see, in as much as we wish them well, we also do acknowledge that in 4 years there'll be little that they'll be able to do in dealing with the challenges of this country. So they should use the opportunity to also manage expectations, but not to attack in the previous administration.
All right.
Because some of the mistakes they thought we were doing, I'm telling you now, we'll be here. This government will not be free from
the
some
thing
of these
is that
mistakes.
I don't know what the illness of our politics is, because a lot of the times there are many things, Mr. Ashama, and I will say this all the time, there are many things Mr. Ashama's NDC saw
wrong
with the NPP. The NPP did not see.
Okay.
But these are things the NPP saw prior to the NDC losing power.
2013, 2016.
Yes, this NPP said they have become arrogant. They are tone deaf. They don't listen to. It was the same thing. They become arrogant. They become tone deaf. When you see people are suffering, they say, "No, we've done this." But the people were saying otherwise. Ultimately, it's the votes that would, yes, I'll give you 2 minutes each to briefly touch on Operation Oral. Where, I mean, there's been a conversation this week, started Parliament, when the Attorney General designates appeared before the committee, and a question was put to him as to whether there was any legality to it. Subsequently, there was a press conference by the minority in Parliament where they touched on the happenings at the committee, and then also urging their members, their former appointees of the administration, not to appear before the committee. Well, I mean, it was never said that the committee was going to be inviting people. Am I wrong? Am I right?
Yeah, you are right.
Is that is a platform where people are supposed to send their information? Okay, so then I'll start with you, Osman, on this one. What exactly is a challenge with the opposition NPP now with Team Oral? What are your concerns?
Thank you very much. I think quick one. My uncle is a lawyer. There's this thing we call natural justice, right? What are the principles of natural justice?
To be heard.
To be heard. So you see, we have been told that oral committee will not be inviting people, but rather gather information about people, right? So you gather information about me as a former appointee of the previous administration, right? Then you tell me you're not going to invite me, but then you're going to present that information you've gathered about me to a state institution mandated to investigate that particular allegations. Do you get the point here? So the question is that we've been told that they were not going to invite. The honest truth of the matter is that we gathered information prior to the press conference we had early this week that they will be inviting people.
Okay.
They started sending out information to people that they wanted people to come and give them clarification on some allegations against their persons. But the concerns we raised from the onset of the establishment of this oral committee is that, and I use a certain terminology in describing it, that it's basically a concourse committee where they'll be gathering information about people, right? Without any legal backing, no legal framework. They don't have the power to investigate, they don't have the power to prosecute. So such a committee, if it invites you, you need to be very careful appearing before that committee. So not to put yourself in.
Is it a committee?
Yes, that's what they call it. Oral
Is
committee.
it a committee?
Operation Recover All Loot.
Yes.
Oral.
It doesn't say
It's operation.
committee.
It's what?
It's an operation, but I
so
think it's a committee.
5 member.
It,
So
it,
what
does,
is
it doesn't say it's a
When
committee.
it was announced, it was described as a committee.
No, check the letter.
Look at the letter. See if it's a committee.
So what? Then what is it? Is it a team? What is it?
It's gathering information.
So what? Gathering information
Yes.
by individual Ghanaians.
It's gathering information by a group of people. The president,
Group of
the,
people.
The,
So
the,
if
the
group of
president
people,
elect.
we can't call it a committee.
No,
a
it's
group of
not a
people.
committee.
So we can call them a team.
Well,
We can call them a team,
but not a committee.
A very interesting one. But you see now, what is important is that if President John Dramani Mahama, we are still in our early days in
It's
opposition. So
understandable. I mean, we journalists have been struggling
So,
to shuffle between
the two.
president and
So
former
if
president.
President Mahama promised on the back of corruption and promised the good people of this country that he will be putting together a certain initiative known as Operations Recover All Loot,
Okay.
and he deemed it fit to go it through this way, I think we live in a country where laws are in place. He could have even put in a commission of inquiry or anybody.
But why are you seeking to tell the president how to approach it?
No,
how to approach his corruption
difficulty in the operations of this committee.
A quick one.
Okay.
And one of the questions that keeps coming up, you hear the people, the proponents of this argument say that, I mean, there's strategies, there's Y, there's X. Others also make the argument that, I mean, we had all these and we decided to, as a means of fighting corruption, to set up the office of the special prosecutor.
Which is backed by law.
It was a proposal and it was set up like that. So it's a means to fight corruption.
Okay.
And just as the counter arguments are, just as you can go to your chief and report that this has happened, this person has done X and Y, it's the same operation with oral as well.
If you can go to your chief, who is the chief of the community, there is this authority backing his title, right?
Yes, but he says, don't come to me directly. I'm designating this man. Go and talk to him.
Now, I get the justification you're putting to this discussions, but the reality is that we are living in a community where laws.
The counter
I get you. Sorry for using the word justification. We live in a country where laws and regulations take effect. We're not living in a banana republic, where as a result of change of political power, a new government, prior to swearing in, before the committee was even established, John Mahama was not officially inaugurated into office, right? Yeah, there's a committee being put together.
It was a preparatory committee.
So now that he's in office, it's now official.
Yes.
We don't have any problem with the committee. See, let's also put it on record.
Okay.
We
So wrap up in 1 minute.
We don't have any difficulties in holding the previous administration appointees to account. We have no difficulties in that.
You just said it should be lawful.
It should be lawful. That's what we're saying. Thank you very much.
Mr. Shama.
No, I think Operation Retrieve All Loot, that group is the most sensible group ever created. Why did I say so? It is better, the group is to gather information from the public. They don't have prosecutorial powers to try you as such. And I've not heard whether somebody has been invited or someone come and tell us where you get this. They are just gathering information. It is better than BNI or NIB inviting you without any information that we've heard. And then you enter that tall wall building, sit down there the whole day, and sometimes nobody asks you anything. Which one is better? So they are just gathering information so that we will sort it out to see which one could be used to prosecute such persons. And I am telling MPP people, if somebody loot the properties of the state, forget about special prosecutor, forget about Yoko. We are going to tribunal straight.
Okay.
That is what the new Attorney General is coming to establish. He told the people, we are coming to establish that. Now, yes, I know, you just let that go. The press conference, I want to tell my colleagues, members of parliament, I'm talking to them on members of parliament level, that is the most useless press conference they have ever gathered.
Because
who says who has been invited? Who has been invited?
They said they had picked information that was.
And you are telling, look at this. You see, they just want to tell the whole world that they have also come to parliament. The guy who made the press conference is Chairman Sambos. He enters the Chairman Sambos' shoe. And then so they want the public to know that, I have also.
So you think it's for
those of
visibility?
us who have been in parliament, we know that what they were doing, they just to show their face. It is totally unnecessary.
All right.
And that is why I want the MPP to know very well that if they want to be opposition members in parliament, we don't want cacophonous just making noise.
All right.
Look, that's.
Let me go to Mr. Danton. My time is fast spent.
Yeah, your time
is
fast spent. You see,
there's a show coming
that
out
they were vetting the appointment, MPP people could not ask questions. They allow opinion marking to just be doing what he likes over there. Now you finish the thing. No, I didn't insult
that's
him.
very wrong. That's very wrong.
After finishing, now they are saying that the chairman was biased.
Oh, no, but that's very
We
wrong.
don't want that type of irresponsible opposition.
We watched it.
All right. Mr. Jantua, let me quickly hear from
What
you.
does the MPP have to fear?
Nothing.
Nothing.
But we want the right.
So what is the challenge? President Mahama was president-elect. At the time, he wasn't president. He wanted to make sure that he understood what it meant by Operation what? Recover all loot. No be so? Yes. So he needed the kind of information he required. And he's gathering information. He's become president today. He can decide to put an executive instrument in place to make it legal. He can decide to put a commission of inquiry in place to make it legal. So what is your problem? Huh? Have people not looted lands in this Ghana?
So it's much ado about
$58 million. Is it not in a hole? Are you saying we shouldn't investigate?
So
is that what you're telling us?
This is a public knowledge. What is so difficult?
No. You're trying to say we should investigate it?
Oh. Do you need oral to do that investigation?
You need the information, the right evidence. Law has got to do with evidence. Konkonsa Yemfan court. I told him. Konkonsa Yemfan court. So he needs to get the evidence. So he's gathering the information. Once he look, now if you were president-elect, would you trust the institutions that have been stuck with party people? Would you trust it? Won't you try and get your own information to make sure that the information you've got would even be able to be taken for trial?
You want to be?
Did he not have
watertight evidence?
Did he not have the President Mahama elect? Did he not have his own legal counsel? Didn't he announce to us? Yeah. And what is that legal counsel there for? If for nothing at all, to look at the evidence that is coming to make sure that can we go for prosecution?
All right.
And you're talking what? What are you scared of? What are you scared of?
All right, gentlemen.
You did things that were untoward. You have to be taken on for it. If for nothing at all, big hole, $58 million.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much.
They send the MPs to be making noise.
Okay, all right. Thank you very. It's okay. It's okay. These allegations eventually to be proven or otherwise, it's still the. That will be it for the weekly review segment on the Morning Star on Star 103.5 FM.